Hi guys, Spartan765 here. Today I'm doing part 2 of a two-part video series. I didn't really intend on doing a second part, but I'm doing it today. And that is my gun room, the state of my gun room 2017 of February. Now if you watch the first video, you'll see that there was a bed in here and it was kind of messy back in that region there. I was able to get my bed back into the bedroom today because I've watched the last video. My house did flood a while back and the only undamaged room was this room. So I'd have my bed near to sleep. But that got finished today, so I put all the shit back in the bedroom. Anyway, so we're going to start off, just for those of you who did not watch the first video. This is my gun room. We'll start off at one of the most important points, and that's the entry door. This is a steel entry door that I have anchored to the studs with 3.5-inch screws directly, and then on this side I shimmed it, you know, like you're supposed to. Put a shim up there. I got a Schlag 5-pin tumbler deadbolt on here. I rebuilt this lock, took it apart, put in security pins, so it's a lot harder to pick, a lot harder to bump or rake. If you're familiar with locksmithing, you'll know those terms. I also got a 3-lever Mortise lock on there because if someone comes prepared to maybe pick that, they're probably not going to come prepared to pick a Mortise lock because that requires a completely different set of lock picks. Alright, then we're going to go over here. This is one of the workbenches. Obviously we got a fire extinguisher there. That's very important. This is one of the workbenches here. This used to have a TV and a whole bunch of video game shit on it. That all got cleared off. Got a drill press up there for doing, you know, I could do AR 80% lowers on that, drill and tap, any really, well, as far as, you know, the most basic stuff, really basic machining about, you know, what you can do with a drill press. It'd be really nice to have a mailer lathe, but I don't have $100,000 laying around to get that set up, so, you know. And we got a vise here, carry guns laying there. I got all my flashlights, batteries. I got a couple of CB radios up there. This is the bench I mainly use if I'm having to do anything really aggressive, like driving pins out, or maybe I'm filing or reshaping something. Then down here we have alcohol preps. Just cheap, shitty alcohol that can be used for sanitizing stuff, sterilizing wounds, also for drinking. I think if the world ends or something happens like that and you've had a really shitty week, you're not going to really care what it tastes like. You'll drink whatever alcohol is around. So I got some vodka and some rum. It's just that cheap, you know, $10 for the big bottle. Down here we got some food preps. Water. I am really low on water right now. I used to like to have about 20-30 cases, but when the house was under construction, the plumbing was shut off for a long period of time, so I kind of made my way through the water preps pretty quick, as well as anybody else that was over here drank out of the water preps. Not that big of a deal. I mean, they're 24-pack of waters, like $2 a pop. Go out and get 30 of them for $60, you know, pallet of them. Well, not at one time because I can't fit all that in my vehicle, but you know, whatever. Yeah, food preps. I got some paper towels over there. This is just refinishing stuff up there. This I have yet to organize. This is really not really that well organized. I don't really use a lot of that stuff super often. I rarely refinish gun stocks anymore, usually only about one a year. I used to do it all the time. If any reason I could find to refinish a gun stock, I'd refinish it. You know, just because I loved doing that. I still do. It's just a really time-consuming process, and there are other things that I'd rather be doing. If it doesn't absolutely need to be refinished, I just don't refinish it anymore. There's those 2 boxes there are full of black powder stuff for my 1851 Navy. We got some hurricane lanterns right there. And I got some hurricane lanterns up here, as you see, with the tin foil for reflectivity, because these things do not put out a lot of light. This is a SHTF type thing. Grid goes down. Use these to light the room. Now, before we have anybody that goes all it snaps about carbon monoxide, these do emit carbon monoxide, not a ton. Same with these oil lamps over here. They do emit carbon monoxide, not a ton. I mean, but if you have all of these running at once, obviously you're at risk for possible carbon monoxide poisoning after a couple hours, a few hours of these running. And I understand, that they do emit carbon monoxide, and an SHTF, these should probably be on during night hours, and the door would be open and venting out to the outside, and carbon monoxide detector right down there for safety. As we're going to move over here now, this is where I sit and do my YouTube stuff, look stuff up. You'll notice a lot of stuff in this room is very improvised, maybe used for purposes it's not intended. This is a 1957 Montgomery Ward airline radio. It's got a record player in there, but it works great. The radio works great too. Here, I'll just to prove it. I've actually gotten in previous videos. It's hooked into the computer right now, so we'll switch it to FM. See? Now, yes, that does hook into the computer. How did I do that? I wired the leads going into from the record player needle to the actual amplifier itself. I wired that in parallel with the record player, and then because this only puts off about 3-ish volts, and the record player puts off upwards around 12, you're going to need to amplify that signal or transform that voltage in order for it to become audible down here. So I have a variable transformer down there that once I turn this to phonograph, it will up the voltage and you can play music through the computer, which is kind of cool. Obviously we got our electrical control panel for the entire house. It's kind of nice. That's right here. And over here we got a whole bunch of brushes and jigs for gun cleaning. I clean a lot of guns, so I do stockpile on that shit. Gun cleaning equipment right here. This is a fire-resistant, chemical-proof table from the 1950s. It was an old lab table. It is extremely robust and durable because it's American-made in the 50s. That's why. Got a gander mountain pad. That's just for setting parts on. Case guard gun cleaning vise. I've had that for 10 years and it's never failed me yet. I did pick up an exciting new task chair from Walmart. Oh boy. 20 bucks. You know what? I get one of these things and they last me about a year. Maybe a year and a half. I mean, for just scooting around here, from scooting to here, to there, to over here, it's nice to have a small, compact wheelie chair. Now, I could get a bigger computer chair. Yeah, but would I be able to, task around on it and do my gunsmithing stuff, cleaning over here with a big armrest or whatever? No, I just want something I can scoot around on, and they're cheap. Over here, we have the focal point of the room. Come in, you see the come and take it flag. I got that at the Alamo when I was down in Texas and San Antonio last year. That was fun. Parts drawers. This is just an accumulation of parts I've acquired over the 10 years of, working on my guns, working on friends' guns, maybe used parts that you took off and replaced that they didn't care if I kept. Or I have bought a lot of spare parts for Glocks, AKs, and ARs, just in case something breaks, like firing pins. A perfect example of that here is ACR firing pins. They're titanium, so they're just not gonna... I don't care what anybody says, a titanium pin ain't gonna last as long as a nice tempered steel pin. And that's pretty evident. You look at most titanium parts. Here we have an LC Smith Bros typewriter, kind of World War I era-ish. I think just before the date on it's like 1913 or something. I got a couple of oil lamps here. These are also part of preps. I just set this like this because I thought it looked kind of neat. And I have the lamps on right now just to show you guys because I don't think I have any videos with lamps on. But yeah, that's that. Then we have the tool cabinet, some swords. These are all real swords. These are not mall swords. I got a Badger Blades there, a Saber Smith, and then the Cold Steel. The Cold Steel is the cheapest one, but the other two are in the $700 range. They're great swords, very durable, handmade. I go to the Renaissance. No, I'm not one of those nerdy Dungeons and Dragons. I just appreciate a nice blade. I'm not as much of a blade guy as a gun guy, but I like my swords and knives. Tool chest, gun vault. This is a D-bolt. Came out of an old Wells Fargo bank. That's what I was told by the people I bought it from at a locksmith shop. hookah up there, that is not mine. That belongs to my friend. It's not for marijuana. It is for shasha or shisha or whatever it's called. I do not smoke marijuana because I have a productive life to live, and I don't want to loaf on the couch and eat Taco Bell all day like a loser. All right, into the gun safe. Now in here we have racks of pistols, rifles. There's 2 AKs that are not in here right now. In fact, the AKs are kind of tucked back in the corner. You can hardly see them. I need to get another gun vault. I got 60, 70 guns, somewhere like that in here. I'm not sure off the top of my head, to be honest. I haven't counted them recently. I just will pick one up once every 2 weeks, you know, sometimes once a month. It just varies. So I see something I like. I do have everything cataloged in Manifest, though. So, I mean, I suppose I could go count that, but whatever. And there's also 3 pistols that aren't in here now. This is a damp rid. I use this to keep the moisture level down. Damp rid is okay to use in gun safes and ammo lockers as long as the liquid does not get on anything. The liquid is a very high oxidizer, meaning it will destroy ammunition and it'll rust the shit out of steel if this thing spills in your safe. That's a downside, but as long as you're careful, I've used them for 2 years and they work just fine. They keep the moisture level down in here. Alright, yeah, this is going to turn into a 15-minute video. Sorry, guys. Alright. Then over here we have the ammunition locker area, whatever you want to call it. You're saying, wow, you got fucking almost, you know, 500-600 pounds of shit piled up on that top of that little steel cabinet. Most of the time when people see these steel cabinets, they're those flimsy shits you get at Office Max made in China. Well, not this one. This one was made in the 50s by Coal Steel. Made in USA. Very, very durable, very reliable. Obviously reliable, that's irrelevant. It's a cabinet. I don't really know how a cabinet can be reliable or not reliable. Very thick. It's all reinforced. I probably got 30,000 rounds of ammunition ish. Maybe more than that, maybe a little less, maybe more. I actually haven't counted it recently, but this thing is completely filled, all those drawers, all the way up. So there's probably a couple thousand pounds of load on this cabinet, and it holds well. And again, I got damp rid in there, damp rid in there. I got a couple of those desiccant fucking oxygen absorbers in each one of these drawers too. I didn't put the damp rid down there just because when you open the drawers, I don't want to run the risk of it falling over. Okay, this is the new part that you haven't seen from the other video. This was, I redid this area, took that little cabinet from over there and put a TV here, 4K TV, Xbox, and original Xbox 360, and the fabled N64 to play GoldenEye on. I grew up playing that game. Gotta have that GoldenEye. Just took a sticky thing, put a little surge protector on there, and then moved the obscure ammo cabinet over here. Now I know 8mm isn't obscure, but I don't shoot it a lot. So I only got about 400 rounds of that. All the rest of this is like 7.5 French, 7.5 Swiss, you know, 303 British, just calibers, 7.62 by 38 rimmed, Nagant, 7.62 by 25. Calibers I don't really shoot that much and don't have a lot of. I just keep in that cabinet. This is all your common stuff like your 7.62 39, 5.56, 7.62 54R, 9mm 40 Smith & Wesson, and 22 long rifle. Alright, we move over here. These are gear cabinets. Now, I just keep any survival gear, mainly clothing, any type of stuff like that. A lot of this is surplus, like these pants are great here. These are cold weather Arctic pants, and they work great for snowmobiling. They keep you warm, as well as, you know, doing anything else outside. Oh, I did repurpose the Shitmaster 3000, and I had to use that to set the ammo cabinet on. This being a basement, I did not want to set that steel cabinet directly on the floor, because in the summer months, the floor can have a tendency to sweat a little bit. I mean, that's with any basement. If you go lay a towel on your, or a lot of, you know, something absorbent on the floor and leave it there for a couple months, you'll pick it up and notice it's damp. That's why I have to have that elevated. This cabinet, as you can tell too, is actually elevated. The shelving does not start till right here, which is nice. Another gear cabinet. Actually, no, this one isn't gear. This cabinet I forgot I actually loaned to my buddy. He does not have any place to store his guns. These are a mixture of real guns in here and airsoft. He's big into airsoft, and he doesn't have a place to store his airsoft stuff, so I give him that cabinet to store his shit in. Over here we have just random boxes filled with stuff I rarely ever use. Dehumidifier is very important to keep your guns and ammo happy. 36% humidity right there. Old computer. That down there is a crate I made to transport large amounts of guns. Like when I moved a couple times, or if I'm going to the range outdoor for a one-day thing and I want to bring like 20 guns, I'll just try and fit as many as I can in there. This is a locker, also from the 50s. A locker bay, Lion lockers, made in USA. Yep, you don't see that often anymore. And I use these just to store random things. As you can see, space limited over there, so I went and used this locker for video game storage, stuff like that. This one is just some kerosene. And this one here is my duty gear for work. I work for an armored truck company. I cannot specify exactly which one I do work for because I signed a confidentiality contract. If they see this video and I say I work for so-and-so company, I could get in trouble. But that's what I do for a living. I bring money to banks, pick money up from banks, stuff like that. That's my Glock 22. That's my duty gun. I got my vest here. And these, I don't use the vest at work currently. I probably should, but I don't. I got, these are 10 dual mag pouches with each one has two 30-round PMags for the AR in it. I know it looks kind of stupid because you got the multicam. Those are surplus mag pouches. I just wanted to see how it would, how the weight was with 10 fully loaded mags on my armor, just to see how it, you know, balanced out and stuff like that. I haven't taken them back off and put them back in the ammo cabinet because I'm just too freaking lazy yet. But I will get to that eventually. Okay, over here we have one of my favorite parts of the gun room. That is the beer fridge. And as you can probably tell, I'm a big fan of real salsa. We got some good bourbon here, some Basil Hayden's, Colonel E.H. Taylor. I like bourbon. I like to sip it. I don't like to mix it with anything. I don't like to get drunk off of it. I just like to sip a little bourbon every once in a while. Now, if I'm planning on, you know, having a night where I'm going to have about 10, you know, maybe get a little intoxicated, the beer is where that comes from, and that's usually on the weekends. Although I will come home from work and have, you know, 3 to 4 beers over a 4 or 5 hour period. I just like the taste of beer. Anyway, that fridge has been with me since 2005, so that's, yeah, that's a good one there. Surprised it's lasted that long. And that's really everything, you guys. Sorry the video was damn near 20 minutes long, but I mean, I like to be thorough. Oh, never mind. We're going to do a pan of this here, just to show you guys the entire room. I don't think I really did that very well in the first one. And that light's just off because I have the bulb flipped up because it gets a little too bright in here. That's a very high-powered light for working on stuff. And that is the gun room. Yeah. Any comments, questions, feel free to send me a message, spartan765 out.